The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Kelvin Hepner with Real Agriculture. We're at CropSphere 2018 and joined now by John Guelly, farmer from Westlock, Alberta, and also a member of Clubroot Anonymous, right, John?
Yep. Hi, I'm John and I have Clubroot.
So you were one of the speakers here talking about your experience dealing with Clubroot in Alberta, and certainly here in Saskatchewan it's on the horizon with some new discoveries on more the eastern half of the prairies, and sharing your expertise. I guess that's one of the first things, is being willing to talk about it or admit that you have Clubroot.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of hit on two parts. One, the physical parts of what we've done on our farm, and the second part of it was kind of the social stigma surrounding Clubroot, that nobody wants to talk about it. It's like mental health, and I think that's the worst thing we can do, is not talk about it. If you talk to your neighbors, talk to your agronomists, get educated on how to look for Clubroot, what to do, and try and catch it as early as possible.
So why, when a farmer finds out they have Clubroot, why, can you take us through the mindset, I guess, that keeps farmers from talking about it?
Well, I kind of equated it to the 5 stages of grief. And each level you think a little bit differently, and you get kind of mad at the beginning because you're wondering how it got there, who brought it in. It couldn't have been your fault. So you blame other people. Then you kind of think, well, it's not that big a deal. I can just keep doing what I'm doing. Everything will be fine. And meanwhile, the things are just escalating. So eventually you need to come around, and you might even see some depression through that stage, but sooner or later you've got to come to some sort of acceptance and come up with a plan that's going to allow you to keep growing canola with Clubroot. And it's a multi-step, timely affair.
So why, is it because of decreased land values, or just not wanting to, I guess, be considered somebody who maybe had a less than recommended rotation? Why is there that stigma attached to having Clubroot found on your farm?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. One is definitely people think that property value is going to go down, and I can say in our case it hasn't, or they're not making land anymore, so the price isn't going down. And yeah, I think there's maybe some embarrassment that they think that they weren't doing a proper management plan, and I don't think that's really the case in most situations. There's usually reasons why you've changed rotation or what have you. It's kind of a wake-up call. You need to talk to people, get educated, see what you might be doing wrong or what you can do to fix the problem, and continue on. It's not the end of the world getting Clubroot. Mm-hmm. It certainly changes your life, changes your farming practices, but it's not the end.
But that's also one of the messages that you shared here too, that it works to keep growing canola even if you have Clubroot.
Right. Yeah, if you can use some practices like seeding Clubroot resistant varieties, lengthening your rotation, minimizing traffic of third-party equipment, stop spreading dirt, be that by water, equipment, or wind. Those are all things that you can do to try to minimize the spore load buildup.
Okay. What would you say has been the key to being able to keep canola? I guess those are all separate keys, but is there one in particular, or some that people maybe don't think of or underestimate the importance of?
Well, I can think of I'd say the 3 big ones are growing Clubroot resistant varieties. Some people think that there's a yield drag with those. I don't think there is, from what I've seen on our farm and the plots that we've done. Scouting is huge. You need to scout, and when you find the first instance, you need to deal with it and do something. And rotation. I think everywhere we go, we see rotations getting shorter and shorter, and for a lot of them, good reasons. Like when everybody used to have 50 cows at home, and they used to have a lot of hay, so they have rotating hay and different feed crops for those animals and livestock. That's disappearing. It's going into feedlots and larger facilities. So not having those around in your area, rotations have gotten shorter, and we've just got to find ways to find other profitable crops that we can rotate in and lengthen our rotation.
All right. Finally then, in terms of what you hope Saskatchewan, Manitoba farmers, even parts of Alberta where they haven't been exposed to the level of Clubroot that you've had to farm with, what do you What do you hope they would hear from your presentation today, or from our conversation here?
I guess just don't panic, but keep looking. To say you're never going to get it is probably not realistic. Keep looking, looking, see if you find it, and as soon as you find it, you need to do something about it. Talk to people. Early detection is key. But basically be calm about it, talk to your neighbors, don't hide the fact that you have it, address that you have it, and try to find more information about it and be able to continue on.
And getting back to those stages of grieving, the more you talk about it, I guess the faster you get to that point of accepting it and having a plan, coming up with a plan. Exactly.
I mean, you can move through it. You can think about it in your head and go crazy for months on end, but usually there's a sane solution to a lot of the issues, and you don't think about it yourself. But when you talk with other people, usually a lot of those things come out of the talk.
Okay. So Clubroot Anonymous, what about Edmonton Oiler Fan Anonymous? Are you a member of that group already, John?
Well, right now it's one and the same. It seems to be a never-ending story there. We thought we were out of the black hole last year, but we're right back in it. I'm not sure what's going on with those guys, but hopefully we can get it straightened out sooner than later. But I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
We'll stick to growing canola and talking crops here at CropSphere. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.